Come sweeping down the path. So check this out, dude.
What's
I'm
up?
here in Oklahoma, right outside of Stanley Draper. I've mentioned that to a few people a few times, but I found the mother lode of rose rocks, bro.
Nice, dude.
I
What do you
got
got?
some big ones. I got some
Dude, it's
little
crazy,
ones.
man. That's
I got,
awesome.
I got. At this point, I got more than I can even handle. I'm sorry you can't see them so well in the light, but rose rocks. It's the state rock of Oklahoma, and you can only find them in Oklahoma in a small patch of area. So I've seriously hundreds of them, bro. Hundreds.
Wow.
So
That's
I'm in
crazy, man.
Oklahoma.
Man, speaking of Oklahoma, man, let's just talk about that win for 1 second. Because to me, like, it's one of those things where you look at the stats, right? And you see that they went on, the Dallas Mavericks went on a 30-0 run. And then you look at the two players that we essentially got from Dallas last year, Bertans and Kason Wallace,
Yeah.
and they scored 30 points.
Hmm.
So there's something there, guys.
Man, I think Bertans is a great guy to talk about. But really, like, it's just a next man up mentality. I know that we started out really hot with Kayson's game, and being a rookie on such a deep team, there's going to be ebb and flow to his season, no matter what. But still, with his age and where he's going, I'm super high on him. Bertans, on the other hand, though, is a player who is in the back nine of his career, might not get another contract. If he does, it won't be that big. He's still got some game, obviously. He showed that. But both of them come in and contribute, and they do it in the ways that they do. You know what I mean? Like, Wiggins. We love talking about Wiggins. Or how about, let's talk about Lindy Waters, right? The going gets tough, and coach needs somebody in there who's a zone buster, but not just because he can just shoot the three, but because he can make the right pass, the right cut. He understands spacing. He goes to the right positions. He reads the seams in the zone, and he understands how to make sure good things happen. So coach says when he puts Lindy out there, good things seem to happen. I mean, that's how I feel about it too.
Yeah. Let's just be honest about it. When Lindy was on the floor, I want to say last night or the other night, Lindy didn't get much playing time. But it was the other game that he stepped up and got a ton of playing time. And I watched him and I watch him with the wingspan that he has. And that wingspan is truly spectacular. And especially in that zone that we play, you need somebody like that. That's 6'6", 6'7". I think he's closer to 6'7" than 6'6". And those long arms, he rebounds, he crashes the boards, he does all these other things that you want in a player, especially a young player, to do. And then you start looking, like you said, you mentioned Aaron Wiggins. You mentioned some of these other guys that we have that are, glue pieces. And any time that you look at this team and you say, Kenny Hustle, right? Aaron Wiggins, Lindy Waters. I mean, we could go down this list and it keeps going and going and going to these guys that you need on the court. Like I look at these guys and the way they're playing, and a player like Miscic should be getting playing time right now. And he's not. And it's shocking to me. And I know I see him talking to Poku, on timeouts. Like, you can tell he wants to play. And it's frustrating to him. But the reality is that everybody else is playing at such a high level right now, you can't. And anybody that wants to get upset with the way that Josh Giddey's playing right now and the minutes he's getting, right, I got to say, is just relax on it, guys. The other night against Dallas, he only got 17 minutes. He scored 10 points, got an assist and 3 rebounds. But he's just like, they're getting him in the flow of things. And I'll be honest with you, is if I was Coach D, I'd be more concerned about Josh's mental aspect than his minutes right now. Yeah. And everything that's going on right now, I would be saying, let's crack down on his mental aspect before we worry about his minutes.
You got to build. You got to build. Start somewhere and build up. And there's definitely been some obvious distractions this year for him. And overcoming that for him and for the team is going to be really important. But that's where we come back to that next man up mentality. And coach, he always searches through his lineups looking for who will perform well in a given situation. And once he finds kind of like that group, he likes to ride it for a long time. So that can piss off some people who really like rotations to be a certain way. They want certain things to happen here and there. A lot of people like to focus on those things. But the reality is, like, coach has an understanding of who's playing well in any given moment.
Sure.
And he likes to go with those guys. Now, he might also have a game plan that dictates, well, I'm not going to go to a certain guy because he played 2 nights in a row or whatever. And like, he has his own like mentality. But what I love about what we see is like every time you see somebody come off the bench, you know that they are a spark plug. Like a lot of teams will have like, okay, he is our spark plug. Old school New York Knicks fan, John Starks, right? The ultimate spark plug.
Yep.
And there's other guys who are, microwave scorers. They're, they come in and just start things. But like, tell me which one of these guys isn't a spark plug. Wiggins, Waters, Kenny Hustle, Jay Will, Isaiah Joe, Bertans the other night was an absolute torch, man. It was an unbelievable 3 shots, 15 points or something like that. Something unbelievable on 3
11
shots.
minutes, yeah.
Like, and like that's the makeup of this team. Now, we like to think this team has a chance to do, as we've said since before the season started, 55 plus wins. Sometimes I get carried away and say 60. But like for this team to be a 60-win team, like right now they aren't. They just aren't. It's not right. It's not there right now. But they have the pieces to be. It could happen next year. It could happen in 2 years. It could happen this year. But what would have to happen for it to happen this year would be what, Dave? You tell me. How do we get to the point where this team is clicking at a 60-win pace?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to get Chet up to averaging above 20 points a game. You're going to have to get J-Dub averaging 20 points a game. And Shea needs to be in that 30 point sweet spot.
All of that seems reasonable.
And then you need to have a bench that can put out. And I'm talking like a classic 1970s porn put out. Like this needs to be something where it's so elite, so high level. They're averaging 25, 30 points a game, if not more, coming into games. Because the reality of what we got going on that bench is that there's no reason why we shouldn't be averaging 20 plus points a game from that bench. And if we are doing that from that bench, that means that we can pull out any one of these guys, these starters, and replace them with some guy that can score 5 points in the time that they're out of the game. And that instant offense, that offense that we're doing and that we're looking for is special. So those are the 3 things that I'm looking at. Chet, J-Dub, our bench.
Right. Our defense has already shown signs that it can be that level. Like the difference between where it's at right now and what it needs to be at 60 wins is like, you need to know what you're going to get when you come into a game automatically. Another thing that I would say, like giving up a 30-0 run, that's not indicative of a team that's going to win 60 games. Like,
sure.
When you have a team down by 24, you're going to close that game without putting your starters back in. That's a 60-win team.
Hold on. Freak things happen throughout the NBA season. And I want to say that giving up 30 points in a row like that should have been a nut kicker. We should have lost that game.
Absolutely.
But to be able to rise above, be down 6 with 2 minutes to go in the game after just losing 30 points in a row, to be able to do that and then all of a sudden take a deep breath and go out there and put major points on the board really in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Before you go, I want to keep this conversation going, but I think there's a lot of people that think, okay, if you give up 30 points, statistically, like you're not going to give up 36 in a row, so maybe we should have won the game. But that's just not how it works when the pressure of the fourth quarter and you're out away goes. Like once you start bleeding, you're supposed to, like a fighter, that gash is supposed to keep opening and it's supposed to take you out of the contest. Like they were supposed to land the knockout blow.
They had an opportunity to, and they missed a 3. So to me, like this is the moment where
would that have been enough though? Like we went from being down 6, we could have been down 9, but we ended up winning by 6. So we could have still won.
We could have still won, but to me, like when a place is rocking like that at home, Coach D. This is what I love about Coach D. Coach D gambled last night. All right, what did he gamble with? Let me tell you what he gambled with the game. All right, 30 points in a row. He's already called 2 timeouts in that 30-point run. He's got 1 timeout left. He says all or nothing. Timeout. 3 minutes to go. You motherfuckers get back in this game. Motherfuckers, we're not going to lose this game. We're down by, at that point, I think it was like 2 minutes and something seconds left, whatever. We're down by 6 points. And we came back and we won the game. And I look at that moment where Coach D pulls the guys together and says, this is not going to go down like this. And I think we scored, I want to say we scored 17 points, 16 points, 15 points, something like that in that time period.
I think
You
we
know,
were
like,
17-3 is what I've heard. I think that's about right.
and it's just insane, bro. Like to me, looking at it and saying, this is where this team was at. They were in the shit. You know, like nothing was happening. We couldn't buy a shot. We had all the guys on the court that should have been able to hit a shot. Nothing went down. Coach D calls timeout, recognizes that, hey, listen, we're not going to win this game if I save this timeout for later. We're not.
How do you, in that spot, like, how do you, okay, they don't have timeouts in, boxing, but so say you get saved by the bell, ding, 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 and then you're in the fighter's corner. That's what it kind of felt like in those that last timeout,
Yeah.
right? You got one more
Yeah.
chance to get through to the fighter, and you're like, yo, wake up, wake up. What you need, 1, 2, bam, bam, dodge, dodge, knock, hit. Like, it felt like that was kind of like the intensity of the moment. But what do you think was said by
Bro,
coach?
I want to say this as a coach, having one timeout left.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you, like, if you guys know, if you're a coach, you know the same thing I'm about to say. You got 3 minutes left on the clock. You got one timeout left. If your team needs a timeout, you're not fucking taking that timeout. I want to make sure that's clear. You save that timeout. Am I right? I mean, like, I was raised that way as a coach. You don't use your last timeout if it's a close game into the very end, if you need it. Especially in the fucking NBA where you get to advance the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But Coach D said that fucking doesn't matter right now. What matters is me getting a hold of this team and talking to them, settling them down and letting them have an opportunity to win. And what happened? We go on our run. Dallas calls their last timeout. They got nothing after that. You know, like, to me, it was the perfect execution, because the second that Dallas used their last timeout, right, he fell into Coach D's trap, bro. 100% fell into Coach D's trap. It was like, holy shit. Like, Coach D just outcoached Jason Kidd. Just like nobody's business. Like, it was to the point where it's, okay, I don't know, man. Like, I for the first time, I felt like not only is Coach D one of the better coaches in the league, but he has the game plan to outcoach anybody. And I know it's Jason Kidd, whatever you want to say, but Jason Kidd's a hell of a coach, guys. And he's been a hell of a coach for a very long time. Even when he was playing, he was a fucking coach. So, like, I see this and I see Jason Kidd and what he's doing there for Luka, and I'm like, damn, dude. Like, he just outcoached Luka, or outcoached Jason Kidd. The game before, he's outcoached. I mean, we can go down the list, man.
So, but like in that final timeout, like, I know how I would act in that situation. No, I mean, actually, I don't know, but I can assume that I'm going to get in everybody's face and I'm going to be like, get your shit together, right? That's how I would probably want to handle that. But I have a feeling that, like, from what we know about Coach D, that it's actually going to be quite a different environment than that. It's probably going to be more like giving them a way to get an easy bucket. Because, like, if you can just turn the tide a little bit, like that, like, it becomes a back and forth game again. Like,
Sure.
What do you think he did in that moment? Because to me, it was a masterful setting, like you've put in there. But, like, it's also like the execution of that moment is critical.
So obviously, whenever Coach D calls timeout, you guys can watch the games. Coach D does one thing. He's at the half court line almost all the time, and then he walks from the half court line all the way down to the baseline, in the step out position. And that's where Coach D walks immediately. The reason he does this is because that's where he meets his assistant coaches and he tells them the game plan, and then he moves forward. And this was no different, man. He was able to get the emotional aspect out of it. Because, if you're a coach, every coach knows this. And if you've ever been a coach, is that a team goes on any type of run on you and they've taken the lead from you and you're embarrassed, you're upset. If you can get your emotional aspect under control and you can walk into that huddle and say, this is happening, and this is happening, shut the fuck up, do what you're supposed to, and quit being little bitches out there. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that because LeBron told us not to, but quit your shit. And keep the emotional aspect out of it. Don't yell. Don't get in the players' faces. Just tell them what they need to do. Because they already know. Do you think you seriously need to go out there and give Shea a lecture about, what the fuck, man? You just gave up 30 points in a row. You guys going to buy a bucket. They don't need that shit. They know that shit. You just got to get in that huddle and use your time wisely. Tell them what they need to do with Coach D, and that's what they did. The assistant coaches, they broke the huddle. Assistant coaches pull the guys aside, and they go boom, and it's done.
So then the bigger question, right? They do film study, right? We should honestly rewatch the fourth quarter together live with our friends tonight or something. But we probably won't because it was really painful. But like I would love to just get back together and rewatch it, because sometimes when the emotions of it are happening, you can't really see what's going on. And plus I had diarrhea, if you remember, everybody. But like what I do want to say about what we can improve here is that these experiences happen over and over and over again throughout the course of a season, where teams are putting big runs on you. And we have to learn how to like absorb the run and then use a little jujitsu, which is like use the momentum they have against them and do. But that's a different thing for a different day. Like we have to figure that out as a team for us to get to that 60-win level. But
Yeah, man.
for what happened the other night, like think about what happened last year when we played the Mavericks at Dallas. I think the first of the games was when we figured out Isaiah Joe was a sniper. Like you knew, some people knew, but some of us were waiting, and then he goes out and does that. Like, you think the Mavericks are tired of seeing the Thunder come into Dallas?
Bro, I mean, you've got to be. I mean, Casey Wallace, 15 points, 6 for 12 in field goals, and Bertans 3 for 3. Like Coach D was out there rubbing that salt in the the air, because I mean, with all due respect, Blake Lively, right? Or otherwise known as Derek Lively, he had a hell of a night, man. 20 points, 16 rebounds, and like 8 blocks or something like that. 7 blocks. Hell of a night by Blake. So anyways, I just look at it and I'm like, this is what happens, like you're playing against a team, and the Oklahoma City Thunder essentially passed on Derek Lively and said, nah, we're good on him, but we want Cason Wallace. And Dallas passed on Cason Wallace and was willing to give up Bertans to move 2 places back in the draft to save money. So Dallas essentially hurt 2 people's feelings, whereas Oklahoma City just hurt 1 person's feelings. And between them all, I think that it's self-explanatory. 50 points, an insane amount of rebounds, like good basketball between them. And it's crazy to think that, like, this is why the NBA is so special. And we've talked about this before, and it's one of my mottos, man. Basketball is a game about runs, bro. That's what it is. Like whether it's like diarrhea or just fucking runs, man. Like they just go up and down. They'll score 15 points in a row, then the team can't score. Man, I've been there. Man, I've been there to an extent where I've missed 3 wide open layups and we still couldn't score. So it happens, man. There's nothing you can do about it. I look at it and I have to say is that the team is designed that we limit our runs. Last night will probably be the worst run we'll give up in a few years. But the reality is that this team is designed to score during runs. You got Isaiah Joe, Bertans. These guys make their own shots everywhere. You got Shea, J-Dub, Cason Wallace, Chet. Josh Giddey can make his own shot. These guys are designed to do what it needs to take to get into the lane and get their shots off. So I'm not too worried that this is going to happen again.
So, like, us being able to learn from environments like this without having to experience the loss and like the negative emotions from it. Like,
sure,
it kind of feels like how we got onto that run in January last year, where it was like kind of steal a game here, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're the toast of the town, right?
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel some good vibes, bro. What are our games coming up? How are we feeling about those? I know that there's several against tough teams in December. We're playing, I think the Warriors was added to our schedule, but also the Rockets. So I'm not too worried about
tough ones. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to lie. I mean, we got some really rough games coming up, but like if you've seen what's happened with this team, like I do, like there is a top echelon in the NBA, guys. There is a top echelon of teams in the NBA, and then there's a bottom echelon, and then of course the middle echelon. The middle echelon is the most amount of teams. And anybody that looks at this Oklahoma City Thunder team that says that this Oklahoma City Thunder team is in the middle echelon doesn't understand what this team is capable of doing. This team is in the top echelon in the West. And when you look at the top echelon in the West, there's 3 teams in that top. And at this moment, okay, And if you're looking at that and you're starting to circle and you're starting to start to understand that the Oklahoma City Thunder is going to win 50 plus games. And there's only 3 teams in the West that are going to be able to do that. And it's going to be spectacular. And if you're looking at this in any other way, to me, December is our off month. All right, you guys, we get days where we get 2 days, 3 days off in a row. Like, it's been happening here for like the last week and a half now. Okay, guys, we've had 3 games in a week and a half. So
Yeah.
We just have a lot of time on our hands. But when January comes, I mean, I kid me not, guys, it's going to be one of the worst Januaries, if not the worst month for any team. 17 games in January, guys. 17. Not just that, but they're hard games. We've got a ton of back-to-back games. And it's the reason why we're not playing some of the players that we're not playing. Like Josh. I get it. People are upset. Josh minutes are down. Listen, you're not going to be upset in January when he's averaging a shit ton of minutes and he's able to do that because we didn't wear him out in December. So just relax. Put the brakes on and recognize that this team is going to do some great things. And we're just all in the cheap seats right now, sitting back and enjoying it because there's a vibe happening in Oklahoma City. Last night, man, for the first time in a long time, I saw a ton of Oklahoma City Thunder fans in Dallas Stadium, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a ton. And it was crazy because usually, bro, we don't see any Oklahoma City Thunder fans in Dallas, bro. We don't. But last night, you can start seeing the Chet jerseys and the Shea jerseys, bro. And it's so nice. You saw Kenny Hustle's jerseys in there.
Mm-hmm.
Case and Wallace's jerseys. This is next level, man. It's really, really powerful to be able to see what this team is pulling into and becoming.
So buckle up. This season is just getting started. So we hope you're having as much fun as we are.
Oh, yeah, guys. Before we go, thank you so much for all the thumbs up, the recent subscribers. You guys are amazing. You guys really make us feel good. There's been a lot of hate around Josh Giddey recently and the Oklahoma City Thunder community to all those people that stood up for Josh. And we've recognized that our numbers have gone up and we've gotten a lot of likes and a lot of subscriptions. So thank you all. We really do appreciate it.
See you soon.